Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, today we have some more Call of Duty World War II. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the day, the first of many patches that Sledgehammer Games has planned here for 2018. This update was all about weapon balance, with the FG42, the Grease Gun, the Kar 98K, the Lee Enfield, the Combat Shotgun, and even the Sawed-Off Shotgun receiving changes. Previously, Sledgehammer Games did go on record claiming that they also planned to buff the STG-44 and nerf the M1 Garand, but for right now, it looks like those changes have either been put on the back burner or perhaps scrapped entirely based on their internal testing. Time will tell, I suppose, but for right now, let's go over all of today's weapon balance changes. First up, we have the Kar 98K Sniper Rifle. This weapon received an aim down sight speed nerf, and to illustrate this, I recorded the aim speed pre and post nerf and put them side by side. As you can see, the pre-nerf Kar 98K scopes in much faster, and I have to wonder how will the sniper community adopt this new change, because the Kar 98K was above and beyond the most popular sniper here in Call of Duty World War II. Also in today's update, Sledgehammer decided to buff the aim down sight speed of the Lee Enfield. So here's going to be a four-way comparison of these snipers in this game, and as you can see, both the Carbon and Lee Enfield now scope in much faster than the Springfield or the Kar 98K. Again, I have to wonder, what does the sniper community think of these changes? It's very clear that Sledgehammer wants the more powerful snipers to have bad handling characteristics, but have they gone too far? What do you guys think of these changes? I'd love to hear your thoughts down there in the comment section below. Next up, we have the FG42, which has been changed quite a bit as of recently. So before, they nerfed its fire rate, and today they buffed up its fire rate while also giving it less recoil than it had previously. When it comes to the fire rate buff itself, as you can see from this comparison, the difference is actually quite negligible. We're talking about a few rounds per minute, but as we all know, here in the Call of Duty franchise, life and death is decided by milliseconds, so even the smallest changes can mean all the difference, so we're going to have to see how it plays out. Next up, we have the Grease Gun, which now has less recoil than it did before, and they also gave it a slight aim down sight speed buff. This pretty much came out of nowhere. There was really no previous mention whatsoever of them planning to buff up the Grease Gun, but I think it's safe to say that the Grease Gun is one of the least used weapons in the game, definitely the least used submachine gun, I think. Like, I barely see people using this thing, so maybe that's why they decided to give it a little bit of love. And finally, we have the shotguns. So the Combat Shotgun was slightly nerfed, with them decreasing its damage range, though it's important to remember that just recently they actually buffed up the damage range on the Combat Shotgun. They felt like they buffed it up too much, similar to how they felt they nerfed the FG42 too much, so they decided to bring it back a little bit. It's still better than it was at launch, but it's not as good as it was yesterday, for example. And when it comes to the Sawed-Off Shotgun, its long-awaited buff is finally here. So Sledgehammer decided to increase its damage per pellet, they increased its maximum and medium damage range, they sped up its reload speed, but they also nerfed its hipfire spread. And as you guys can see, the hipfire nerf is quite noticeable, but so are the damage and range buffs. So before today's update, the Sawed-Off Shotgun could not get a one-shot kill at this range no matter what. I tested it thoroughly, and after today's update, I can actually back up quite a bit and still earn one-hit kills. It looks like finally the Sawed-Off Shotgun is going to be viable in core game modes, which is good news for shotgun fans everywhere. We can finally use this gun outside of hardcore. It's going to be fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much does it for today's weapon balance changes. However, Sledgehammer did make a few other adjustments, including changing around the defensive spawn points on St. Marie du Mont while playing Search and Destroy, and they also moved the capture the flag positions while playing on London Docks. They are now further apart than they were before. Unfortunately, these are two of my least played game modes here in Call of Duty World War II, so I can't really comment as to how good these changes are, so I'm looking for your feedback down there in the comment section below. But it's also important to note that here in today's update, they don't appear to have actually fixed any bugs or issues in the game, or maybe they just didn't disclose them in the patch notes, I'm not sure, but either way, I don't think that's actually a very good move on the part of Sledgehammer. Recently, we've been talking so much about bugs and issues with this game, we would like to see them fixed as soon as possible, though it appears a lot of them are going to be fixed in next week's update. So Michael Condrey made a separate post today to go along with the patch notes, and in there he explains that more updates are actually coming in the month ahead, and in those updates, along with a a bunch of new content, we are going to see a bunch of bug fixes, which is pretty good news if you ask me, but at the same time, we don't know exactly what bugs they plan to address. They've spoken out against the spectator glitch and the issue with the announcer volume levels in war, but that's really it, and we all know that's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all the problems in this game's multiplayer. So are they going to address these other issues, and if so, when are they going to address them? I wish they were more transparent on that. When they talk about weapon balance, they tell us everything right up front. It's great, it's fantastic, but when it comes to actually fixing problems in the multiplayer, they're not nearly as transparent, so hopefully they can work on that in the future. But also in Michael Condrey's post, he made some pretty big announcements in regards to next week's update. So next week, early next week, so probably Tuesday, they plan to address health regeneration. So starting next week, we are going to have faster health regeneration. They are currently testing changing the friendly shell shock mechanic, and if they do decide to make some changes, which is not guaranteed, it will be part of next week's update. And Winter Quarantine is going to be returning. That is right, ladies and gentlemen, Winter Quarantine is coming back. It's going to be in the standard map rotation, available in every single game mode for every single player, season pass holder or not. Essentially, they're adding a 10th map to the game. Now, here's the thing. He did not go into detail as to how long Winter Quarantine is going to be back for. It may be for a week, it may be for 2 weeks, it may be indefinite. We really have no idea, but for the time being anyway, Winter Quarantine is coming back, and we are going to have a 10th map in the rotation, which is very good news if you ask me. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all for today's video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on all these changes and updates down there in the comment section below, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.